Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupaswarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajanghraye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sarvebhyo Namaha Sarvesham Krite Swagat. We are now in the middle of the 10th chapter, and until the previous session we have covered 29 shlokas of the 10th chapter. Today we will do the 30th shloka. But before I go to the 30th shloka, let me quickly read through the last 3 shlokas that we did. In the 27th shloka of the 10th chapter, Sri Bhagavan said, Uchchai Shravasamashvanam Vidhimam Amritodbhavam Airavatam Gajendranam Naranam Cha Naradhipam. Among the horses and the kings of elephants, I am Uchchai Shrava and Airavata, respectively, the 2 dominant personalities in the life of Indra. Uchchai Shrava is the horse of Indra, Airavata is his elephant. And these 2 emerged during the churning of the Kshetrasagara for Amrit. So Sri Bhagavan refers to them as his vibhutis. They are examples of his vibhuti. And then he says, among the men, Naranam cha Naradhipam, among the men I am the king. Ayudhana maham vajram, dhenunam asmi kamadhuk, prajanaschasmi kandarpaha, sarpanam asmi vasukihi. So among the different weapons, I am the most powerful thunderbolt of Indra. That's his weapon. And in the last class, we read about the story of Vajra, how it came about in Indra's hands and how Indra used it. And he still continues to use it. And among the cows, I am Kamadhenu, which also came out of the churning of the milk ocean. Kamadhenu is a cow which gives whatever one desires, and it is in the possession of the sage Vasishta. We hear about that in some of the narratives. Among the enablers of procreation, the forces which are responsible for procreation, he is the most important one, that is the conjugal desire, the desire to unite. And this also points out that the purpose of a union between a man and a woman, a male and a female, is for procreation. It is not for sensual pleasure. That's not the primary purpose. Sarpanam asmi vasukihi. Among the serpents, I am Vasuki. And in the last class, we also contrasted with Anantas chasmi naganam varuno yadasamaham pitrinam aryama chasmi yamaha sanyamatamaham. So among the nagas, Ananta, I am Ananta. So what is the difference between Sarpa and Naga? So Sri Baladev Vidyabhushana points out that Sarpa refers to one-headed snakes, Naga refers to multi-headed snakes, and among the one-headed snakes I am Vasuki, among the multi-headed ones I am Ananta. Both of them are sons of the sage Kashyapa and his wife Kadru. So then he says, among the creatures that live in the water, I am Varuna. Among the Pitru Devatas, I am Aryama. And among the law enforcing authorities in the universal system, I am Yama. Okay, so having said this, he's essentially covered through these 3 shlokas 11 more of his examples of vibhuti. So why is he talking about vibhuti? In the 10th chapter, he talks about nearly 68 vibhutis, different examples of vibhuti. Basically, he's saying that if you want to think about me with awe, because many people are inspired by awe. Just like today among human beings, we see that people worship celebrities. If somebody is a great actor, if somebody is a great cricket player, if somebody is a great academic, if somebody is even a great among students, the others, they look at them with awe and they worship them. They do what those people do. They follow them. They keep their posters, etc. So awe is a very inspiring force. So attraction towards Bhagavan happens a lot by awe as well. That's not the only way, of course, but a lot of people are attracted to Bhagavan because of the force of awe, thinking of him as awesome, of somebody, thinking of him as somebody who is grand, who is majestic, who is, splendorous. So if you want to think about him like that, then Sri Bhagavan is giving, okay, then think about me in this manner. In any case, everything in existence is me only. There is nothing other than me. But if you want to develop that awe towards me, then think among each set of entities, think of the best among that set of entities, or something which is a master of those set of entities, like the moon among the constellations. So in this manner, you will be able to develop awe towards me, Sri Bhagavan says. So we now do the next shloka, which is the 30th shloka. Here, Sri Bhagavan says, Prahladaschasmi daityanam kalaha kalayatamaham mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam. Okay, so here again he covers 4 more. Among the daityas, Prahladaschasmi daityanam, then he says, Kalaha kalayatamaham. Kalayatam, those forces which subdue, subduing forces. Okay, whichever, for example, laziness is one subduing force. Laziness in us subdues our enthusiasm to do whatever, right? Suppose somebody is very enthusiastic about reading papers, sorting them out, doing a very good literature review. But when you get up in the morning, that person feels lazy. Oh, I just don't want to get up. So that laziness eats up, say, half an hour of your time, 45 minutes of your time. And then finally you say, no, I'm tired of lying on the bed. Let me get out. So laziness is one subduing force. Okay. Then there could be enemies who subdue you, people who don't like you. Okay. They try to sabotage your activity by, for example, they steal your charging cable. Okay. All these things happen, right, in the hostel. So different ways in which forces subdue us, and they come in the way of our growing forward or our existence, our subsistence. But amongst all such possible forces which can subdue us, the most powerful one is the force of time. Okay, time is something that not even the most powerful entity, whether it's a human being or an animal or a god, whatever it is, it cannot escape time. In this material existence, time is the most powerful subduing force. So kalaha kalayatamaham, among forces which subdue, and time. Everybody has to go through the influence of time and eventually meet their death. And again, they are born as something depending on the karma that they have done. Mriganam cha mrigendroham. Among the animals, I am the king of the animals, which is the lion in the forest. So both in our culture as well as in the Western culture also, the lion is known as the king of animals, right? In school, we read that. So in our culture also, among the animals, the king of the animals is that lion, that majestic lion, which is unafraid of anything. A lion has no fear. It doesn't run away from any animal. The lion is willing to take on any animal, right? It's willing to hunt. It's very brave. All other animals are respectful towards the lion. So mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam. Among the birds, pakshi, I am vainateya. Vainateya refers to, it comes from the word vinata. Vinata is one of the wives of Kashyapa Rishi. So once more, Kashyapa Rishi. You see, in many of the shlokas, the entities mentioned they are children or descendants of Rishi Kashyapa. He was such a powerful person, and he is still such a powerful person. So Vinata's wife, Vinata's child is one of her children is Vainateya, and Vainateya is another name for Garuda. Okay, so Vinata had 2 children. One was Garuda, and the other was Aruna. So both of them are birds. Okay, Vinata gave birth to these 2 birds, and both of them are great personalities in the universal system. Garuda became the carrier of Vishnu. Vishnu travels on him, so he's an intimate bhakta of Vishnu. And Aruna became the carrier of Surya Deva. Surya Deva has a carrier also, and that is Arun. So Vainateyascha Pakshinam. Garuda has, there's an interesting story as well that Vinata asked for Kadru. Kadru was another wife. So Kashyapa Rishi has many wives. Aditi and Diti we already heard about. Vinata and Kadru we heard about her giving birth to the Nagas, it's different kinds of snakes. So when she asked her husband that please give me 1,000 sons, so very powerful. So Vinata went and said, give me just 2 sons, but I want each of them to be as powerful as the 1,000 sons of Kadru. Okay, so between the wives, there is competition. And so he blessed her, okay, you'll have. But Aruna was born first, and it is said that she laid 2 eggs basically, and each of them led to Garuda and Aruna. And Aruna came first, and when Aruna was born, it happened out of her impatience. She was not patient enough to wait for the egg to hatch. So she broke the egg before it hatched, and so Aruna was partly developed. His body is not fully developed. He's still a living being, and so he is still in the service of Surya Devata. But then he advised his mother that, mother, don't break the second egg before it fully hatched. Let it hatch by itself. Please leave it. Then you'll have a proper baby. And so she did that, and then Garuda was born. So this is about Garuda. Now we will come to the last one. Prahladas chasmi daityanam. Okay, so among the class of Ditis, again, here we have Kashyapa Rishi, who is the husband of Diti. And the children of Diti, they are called daityas. Ditehe apatyam pumamsaha daityaha. So Diti's 2 children, Diti had many children, 2 of them, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu's son is Prahlad. He had multiple sons. Among them, the foremost among them, the best known among them is Prahlad. So Prahlad was not an ordinary child. Okay, we have heard of the story of Prahlad. Let me briefly recount that story. So as we know, Prahlad was actually born from the wife of Hiranyakashipu known as Kayadhu. And this happened when the Devas, once they had a yuddha with the Asuras, and these Asuras were defeated, and Kayadhu was kidnapped or taken away, whatever word is the appropriate word. Indra took her away to his kingdom, and he kept her in his captivity. And then Narada Rishi, he came there and he foresaw that this lady Kayadhu is not an ordinary lady and she should not be living in captivity like this. So he went to Indra and he told him to let her go. So Indra immediately, because Narada is a guru for him, so he let her go, and Narada took Kayadhu with him to his ashram. And there he gave her lectures, and she was carrying at that time. She was actually carrying when Indra also took her, already carrying a child in her womb. So the child was in the womb when Narada gave her lessons on bhakti, and the child could hear what Narada was saying. Through his mother's body, he could get that very intimate message, and he developed bhakti in him. So he was born as a Mahan Bhakta of Vishnu. And he was conscious of Vishnu. I mean, he was all the time thinking about Vishnu with bhakti throughout, since the time he came out of his womb, and as long as he lived, he was always thinking about bhakti. Now, as the story goes, Hiranyakashipu became very powerful because he wanted to take revenge on Vishnu. His elder brother Hiranyaksha had been killed by Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu developed great amount of anger, and wanting to avenge the death of his brother, he performed intense tapasya and became very powerful. Brahma blessed him that he'll become very powerful. He also asked for a boon, which can sort of insure him against death, by saying that I should not be killed by either a man or an animal. I should not be killed inside the house or outside the house. I should be killed neither in the daytime nor in the night time, etc., etc. We know that he put so many conditions on Indra because he knew that if he asks Indra that I should never die, that he cannot give, because I beg your pardon, Brahma. I'm sorry. I said Indra. Brahma. If he asks Brahma that I should never die, then Brahma cannot grant that boon, because in this samsara, everybody has to die. So he tricked him. He tried to trick him by saying that, he putting conditions so that if you apply those conditions, then death may be impossible, right? So very cleverly he put those conditions. And then Brahma, because he was under compulsion to somehow make him stop the tapasya. The tapasya was disturbing everyone. So immediately he said, Tathastu, let it happen. We'll figure out how to deal with him later. But right now, let's get him out of this. So he said, Tathastu, and Hiranyakashipu became extremely arrogant with that blessing. So with his arrogance, he began to torture everyone, especially the Brahmanas and people who are worshipping Vishnu. He simply could not tolerate, so he would go and kill them. He would destroy temples, etc., etc. And eventually, when his son was just a few years old, his little, dearmost son, Prahlad, with so much affection, he put him under his teachers in the Gurukul, in the Asuras Gurukul. and told the teachers that please teach him all the things that can make him a very good asura like me. So teach him niti, teach him politics, teach him all those things, what a king should know, asura king should know, teach him how Vishnu is such a villain and so on. So these teachers took him and they tried to teach him. And finally, they brought Prahlad one day to Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu very lovingly asked him, what have you learned from your teachers? Please tell me. Okay, so, and this happened multiple times. And in one of those times, what did Prahlad reply? And this is a very famous shloka in the Bhagavatam. I'll read out the shloka to you. Shri Prahlada Uvacha. Okay, it's written as Shri Prahlada Uvacha. Prahlada, Prahlad, both are equivalent words in Sanskrit. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktischain Navalakshana, Kriyeta Bhagavat Yadha, Tanmanye Adhitam Uttamam. So, this is Prahlad speaking to his father, a small child speaking to his father, saying that this is what is the highest thing that I have learned. I consider this as the greatest form of education I have received. And Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on this shloka, he says that actually he's not referring to the education he got from those two teachers, but he is indirectly telling his father that what those two have taught me is trash. But what I learned from Narada in the womb of my mother, that's what I'm now telling you. So what did he learn? He said Shravanam Kirtanam. He identifies nine bhakti, 9 qualities of characterize, or 9 characteristics of bhakti. 9 qualities that characterize bhakti. Navalakshana bhakti. So what are those 9 dimensions of bhakti or 9 aspects of bhakti? Shravanam means hearing about Vishnu. So Shravanam, for example, let's begin with the first one. Shravanam, hearing. Hearing about what? Hearing about Vishnu's names, his qualities, his beautiful form, his activities, etc., his likings, dislikings, etc. Okay, and that applies to all the others also. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Kirtanam means talking about him, or doing all these things, talking about his form, talking about his name, talking about his qualities, talking about activities, talking about his likes and dislikes, talking about his bhaktas. Kirtanam. Smaranam, remembering all of these things, contemplating upon them, remembering them as you do different types of work, recollecting, okay, in love, recollecting in affection. Just like we recollect with a lot of affection activities of people that we like in this world. For example, we like our mother, we like our father, we like our friends, right? We like somebody, we like our teachers sometimes. So recollecting, when we recollect those moments that we spend with them, we recollect what they like, what they don't like. That is smarana. Okay, and this is in the context of Vishnu. Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam refers to different types of paricharya. Okay, the word paricharya is used in bhakti. Paricharya means activities which support these activities. Paricharya. Paricharanam means activities which are complementary, complement these core activities like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Okay. Archanam refers to the activity of puja. So in our Samskriti, there is very elaborate systematic processes given for how the worship of our deity is done. Different deities have different paddhatis for puja. So for Vishnu puja, there is a particular paddhati. Okay, so puja is archanam. Okay, vandanam. Vandanam refers to offering our dandavat pranam. Dandavat means we lie down on the floor. For a man has to lie down fully with all his 8 points in his body making contact with the earth. For a woman is not supposed to lie down like that. Her breasts are not supposed to touch the floor. So she lies down in a curved posture. Okay, so you all know that. So vandanam means offering our dandavat pranam. Okay, that is vandanam. And for some people, you see, we may think that what is a big deal about this? We rarely do this. We do it once in a while. But actually, this is a form of sadhana as well. Okay, for example, if you go to some of these pilgrimage places in our country, for example, Govardhan. If you go to Govardhan, Govardhan is near Mathura. If you go to Govardhan, you will see people doing what is called as dandavat parikrama. Okay, they will lie down and they will chant some mantra. Then they will get up. And then they'll go to the place where their hand was lying. And then again, they will lie down there. Okay, and they have a stone. They'll carry some stones with them, which mark that spot. When they lie down, they'll place the stone there so that next they can get up and go there. They can stand there and offer their respect, right? And the entire Govardhan parikrama, the shortest parikrama you can do of Govardhan is 14 kilometers long. And then if you add the Radha Kund and Sham Kund portion, it becomes something like 20 21 kilometers or something like that. Okay, so it's a very long thing. And these people sometimes take years to do it. They come there, they take several years and then they complete it. Okay, living there, they live there. In the night, they go and sleep somewhere. Okay, so they won't be doing it 24 hours. They may do it for 16 hours in a day, or sometimes maybe 6 hours in a day. Then they go and take rest. Again, they come back to the same spot and continue. So Vandanam is not just a word here. It's actually a major practice that some people take as their dominant form of sadhana. Okay, dasyam. Dasyam is basically a practice done in the consciousness, in the mind, where one identifies oneself as a servant of Bhagavan, as a servant of Krishna, servant of Vishnu, by saying that, who do I think I am? I'm not so and so. Normally, what do we think? Normally, we think we are some significant person in society. You know, I'm so and so's father. I'm a professor. I'm a big businessman. I'm an IAS officer. Right? I'm the prime minister of this country. Whatever. We have some ego, some ahankara. That's called ahankara. We identify with something. But the pure identity that is being recommended here in the Shastra is the most basic identity that the Bhagavad-Gita teaches us is the identity as a Jivatma. That's the very first lesson that Sri Bhagavan gives to Arjuna in the Gita as the Jivatma. And then on top of that, once that is understood, then on top of that, the identity of the Jivatma as a Nitya Das of Bhagavan. Okay, so that is the real Abhiman to have. The Abhiman as not as so-and-so in this material existence, but the Abhiman as I'm just a Das of Bhagavan. I'm at his service. I'm a small particle of dust at his feet. Okay, that is called Dasyam, this Abhiman. Okay. Sakhyam. Sakhyam means, Sakhyam, you know what it means? It means friendship or thinking of somebody as my bandhu. Okay, so Bhagavan is my friend and I am his friend. He and I are friends. He is my welfare. So when we think of somebody as a friend, then what is the implication of that thinking? It means that that person will help me when I need that help. Right? That's the vyavahar between friends. No, a friend is somebody who, like we say, a friend in need in English. A friend in need is a friend indeed. There's a famous saying like that. Right? We are taught that in school. So friends help each other. Friends understand each other's pain. They are there for each other. They stand for each other. Right? So thinking of Bhagavan as somebody who will be there for me and believing in that, having that Shraddha and living by that Shraddha. When I need that help, I can call out to him. When Draupadi called out to him, at least 2 times in the Mahabharata, he came immediately, right? Friend, Sakhyam, that bhav of Sakhya, right? And finally, Atma Nivedanam, the 9th one, Atma Nivedanam. So last 3, Dasyam, Sakhyam, and Atma Nivedanam, they are there in the consciousness. They are practiced in the mind. They are practiced in the consciousness. And the first 6 are practiced physically, outside, externally. Okay, so Atma Nivedanam means considering oneself as belonging to Bhagavan. I am his property. I'm his property. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary on this shloka, as well as, no, this is Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami explains in his commentary. And Vishwanath Chakravarti explains in the commentary on the Bhagavad Gita shloka, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. So he says that it's just like when, you know, those days people used to purchase, just like today we purchase mobile phones, we purchase clothes, we purchase shoes, and we purchase laptops. Those are our most sought after things. In those days, people used to buy cows. They used to buy horses. They used to buy elephants for their agriculture or for their daily work, for milk, whatever, right? So what is the mentality of the animal when it comes to the owner's house? The animal is maybe tied by the owner to whatever, in the goshala or the stable where the horse is kept, right? Or the elephant is kept in its shed. Then the animal just, it's domesticated. So it just lives with that owner. It's at the mercy of the owner. The owner feeds it something, it eats. The owner takes it somewhere, it goes with the owner, right? The owner gives it time to graze, it grazes. It doesn't complain. It just sits there. It doesn't protest. It doesn't fight with the owner. Nothing. It doesn't demand anything. When it feels hungry, it may cry out. Then the owner understands, okay, it's feeling hungry. Let me go and give it some food. Okay, so in this manner, the animal is has a sense of belonging to that owner. Okay, that is Atma Nivedanam. When the bhakta has a feeling that I'm completely his. Now, in this existence, what happens is we are not able to see Bhagavan. We are not able to directly interact with him. So this happens through our guru. The guru is also a bhakta of Bhagavan. We belong to the Guru. We give ourselves to the Guru, and what is his pleasure, Guru's pleasure, we will carry that out. Okay, that's the meaning of Guru in our Samskriti. Atma Nivedanam, giving ourselves to him. And of course, if the Guru is a genuine person, then the Guru will never exploit the disciple. The Guru will engage the disciple in a proper activity that will uplift the disciple. He will not make use of him. He will not make use of him for his personal pleasure. So these are the 9 Navalakshana Bhakti, and this is an extremely famous and well-cited shloka in the Shastra. Prahlad says, Iti pumsar pita Vishnu bhaktischain navalakshana kriyeta bhagavatyadha tanmanye adhitam uttamam. This kind of bhakti, characterized by these 9 aspects or 9 dimensions, this ought to be performed by a man. Pumsa actually literally means man, but Vishwanath Chakravarti points out it's not referring to only the masculine gender. It refers to both men and women, all human beings. And so this is performed by a human being. And it's arpita kriyata. Arpita kriyata means he's contrasting here between karma yoga and bhakti yoga. In karma yoga, the process involves doing the activity and then offering the fruit of the activity to Bhagavan. Karyam kritva tasya arpanam kriyata. But here, arpita kriyata means the activity itself is offered. Even as the activity is done, there itself the offering happens. It is not that after the activity is done, sarvam krishna arpanamastu. No, that is karma yoga. Bhakti yoga is the activity itself belongs to Vishnu. This is done for his pleasure right from the time it starts. Everything, my existence is for him. Okay, that is arpita. Pumsa arpita kriyeta. Bhagavati adha. Adha means truly, genuinely. Means it should not be that I'm thinking that, I will get mukti because of doing this. By doing this, I will get some bhukti. I will get, I'll become rich because Bhagavan will bless me with more than what my neighbor has. This kind of thing. This is bhukti. Thinking of material riches as the result of bhakti. Right? So genuine bhakti means there is no return. There is no anticipation of return. Phal ki apeksha nahi hoti. It's only done with the intention to give pleasure to him. Anukullena Krishnanushilanam. Okay, so tanmanya adhitam uttamam. This is uttama bhakti. This is the meaning of uttama bhakti, which is the teaching of the Bhagavatam. Tanmanya adhitam uttamam. This is what I think is the highest thing that I have learned, Prahlad says. And the Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti and other commentators also like Jiva Goswami, they explain that this is not only Prahlad saying that this is the highest is what he's learned, but by anybody among all kinds of learning, all kinds of education that can be had, that for anyone who has learned anything, if they have learned this, then they have learned the highest thing. Okay, that's the other way to understand it. It's not only that Prahlad saying this is my highest learning, so we can say this is Prahlad's perspective, that's fine. But for me, the highest thing that I have learned is how to write a program in Java. No. According to Prahlad, the understanding is that he's saying that for anybody who has learned anything, if he has learned this, then he has learned the highest possible thing that can be learned. Okay, that's the point we are making. So this is what is special about Prahlad. And we know in Prahlad's story, eventually, Hiranyakashipu was unable to tolerate Prahlad's bhakti to Vishnu. He thinks that he thinks that his teachers have betrayed Hiranyakashipu. And so he scolds them, he threatens them that I'll kill you, because how can a child say this by himself? Then the teachers, they plead innocence and they say that no, we didn't teach him anything. We don't know from where he learned all this. They are now very scared. So eventually, Hiranyakashipu realizes that it's not them, but this fellow is possessed. Maybe Vishnu has somehow done some trickery on him, and he's speaking all this kind of rubbish. So Hiranyakashipu does different things to kill him. And each time an attempt is made to kill Prahlad, Prahlad survives that very comfortably. We know the different instances. For example, he is thrown in a pit where there are mad elephants. Those mad elephants normally would crush anything that comes in their way. But when they go and see what happened, they find that Prahlad is sitting on top of the elephant. Similarly, they put him in a pit with snakes, very venomous snakes, and they go and find that those snakes have turned into garlands, etc., etc. And eventually, in the last conversation that Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu have, Hiranyakashipu asks him, where is it? Where is this guy, Vishnu? You tell me, where is he? Is he here? Is he there? Prahlad says he is everywhere. Then he says, is he in this pillar? Yes, he is. Let me see if he's there. I'll break the pillar. He breaks the pillar and out comes Narasimha, right? Vishnu comes in the form which is neither a man nor an animal. It's a combination of both lion. It's a lion and a man. Coincidentally, in this shloka, mriganam cha mrigendroham. So a lion come man comes out. He's neither a human being nor an animal. And Bhagavan, he plays a leela with him and he ensures that all the conditions of Brahma are met. This guy will die neither inside the house nor outside. So he finds a place which cannot be called as inside or outside. And then neither day nor night, it's the twilight time, and so on. And so finally he kills him. So Prahlad's story is very, very famous, and we can write a whole case study on this. It's a story about how a lot of other interpretations can be brought out from this story. One of the things is that when a person is spiritually very advanced, very mature, then he becomes fearlessness, and that's something that can very much be applied by us. That spiritual knowledge about our true self, our connection with Bhagwan, even as we live in this world. Okay, nobody's going to throw us in a pit with elephants or snakes, so we don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about doing our job properly. If we are able to handle that without fear. Okay, fear of what? Fear of people who will try to pull us down, fear of politics against us, fear of people who are cheating, etc. That's what we fear in our normal work. We don't have to worry about many other things. But even that fear completely goes away. We become stress-free because of that reason. Even though there are a million causes of stress, becoming free from stress, this is a very effective process. So a lot of knowledge can be brought out from this story. And bhakti is the most powerful process for anyone, whatever objective they have in mind. Among the daityas, descendants of Diti, I am Prahlad. Among the forces that subdue, I am time. I am the lion, the king among the animals. And among the birds, I am Garuda, Vainateya, the son of Vinata. So for today, I'm doing only one shloka from the Bhagavad-Gita because I also want to go forward in the story on Bhishma. In the Bhishma story, Bhishma is a Mahan Bhakta of Bhagavan. And as we know, he appeared on this earth for out of a sentence that he was serving. Right? He did a wrong thing in his life as a Vasu. And the sage Vasishta gives him a sentence, pronounces a sentence that you have to now live as a human being in one lifetime. So serving that sentence, he takes birth as the son of Mother Ganga and Shantanu. And he lives one life like that. And now, in the point where our story has reached, we are now in the 10th episode. Okay, so it's like a TV serial, episode after episode is going on. I have reached the 10th episode now. And it's about the 10th day of the war also. The Kurukshetra war has reached the 10th day. And the first 9 days, Bhishma is a dominant personality. Okay, Bhishma is always a dominant personality. So the first 9 days of the war, on the Kaurava side, he plays an extremely dominant role. He's invincible. Nobody can touch him. Nobody can do anything to him. He destroys, he roots the Pandava army. And on the 9th day, we heard about the 9th day in the last class, where when Bhishma becomes extremely aggressive, and that happens after, on the night of the 8th day, when Duryodhana and the other Kaurava warriors, they go and they insult Bhishma. They say that you are doing nothing, and we want to replace you. We are thinking of substituting you with Karna. And Bhishma then gets aroused and he says that, no, I'll show you who I am. He also feels that maybe the promise I've kept to Duryodhana, I'm not keeping up, so I'll show him. And so on the 9th day, it's extensive damage on the Pandavas side from Bhishma. So on the night of that day, on the night of the day, 9th day, the Pandavas camped. The Pandavas gathered together, and Krishna is also with them, and they are discussing, what do we do now? They say that Bhishma Pitamaha, he cannot be defeated by anyone, and as long as he is there is no victory for us. We have to accept, but we have to win. And so what do we do? They turn to Krishna. Yudhishthira turns to Krishna and asks him, what do you advise? So Krishna replies that, Arjuna has taken a vrata. He has made a vow before the war that I will myself single-handedly finish all of them, especially Bhishma. I will defeat Bhishma. And Krishna says, among all of us, Arjuna is the only person who can do it. He is extremely qualified. So there were two personalities in this war, one on the Pandavas side and one on the Kauravas side, Arjuna and Bhishma respectively, who are above the other warriors. in their ability to fight a war and remain undefeated. Nobody can defeat them. Right? Both are equally talented. They are so powerful, it is said that even the devas in heaven, who are much more powerful than any human being, much, much more powerful, okay, even they cannot defeat either Arjuna or Bhishma. They are so powerful. So Krishna says that on our side, Arjuna is there. He has taken a vow too, but I don't think he is doing enough. He says that. If you recollect in the last class also, when the incident came where Krishna gets down from the chariot and rushes towards Bhishma, right? As if to kill him. At that time, we learned that how that situation is understood, that Krishna says that Arjuna is not doing enough in order to make him feel guilty, or in order to inspire him. You can see it that way also. In order to inspire him by pointing out that he's not doing enough, let me do this. So Krishna performs that act, and then Arjuna also gets down and holds Krishna's feet and says, please stop, I will fight. Please leave it to me, I'll do my job. They go back, but on the 9th day, nothing happens. Nothing further happens from the Pandavas' side. It remains as bad as it was in the earlier part of the day. So now, Krishna points out again that Arjuna is not doing enough. He's capable, but somehow I think his heart is not allowing him to really attack Bhishma the way he can. And therefore, he tells Yudhishthira, if you want, I will get into the war. Tell me, you just order me, I am your servant. Krishna tells this to Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, that I am your servant, I am available, I am at your disposal. You just give me one order and I will completely clean up all of them. I'll clean up the entire Kaurava army. You just tell me that, I will do it. Then all of them feel embarrassed, and then Yudhishthira says, no, Krishna, never. We will never make you break your promise. You have made a promise before the war, and we don't want you to become known as a person who broke his promise, even if it is for us. We won't do that. And instead, Yudhishthira says, I recollect that on the first day of the war, I went to Bhishma, and he promised me that apart from fighting on my side, I can ask him for anything, and he will advise me. So now I think the time has come. I'll go and ask him for the advice on how we can defeat him or how we can kill him. Let's go. So immediately Krishna says, yes, that's the best thing to do. He is a Satyavadi, means he will never cheat you. He will never trick you. He will never tell you something false. So you ask him, and if he has promised you that he will give you advice, he will give you the right advice. So they go to the Pandavas, to the Kauravas camp. They go to Bhishma's tent and they meet him. They offer their respects and they speak to him very confidentially. He is extremely happy to see them because he considers them more dear to him than the Kauravas, although he's on the side of the Kauravas now. So Yudhishthira asks him, he says that please give us this knowledge because we know that we can't defeat you by fighting with you. It's impossible. You are extremely powerful, and today you have done enormous amount of damage to our army. And you also know that we should be ruling. You want us to be ruling. So please tell us how to achieve that. You tell us how we can defeat you. So Bhishma replies there. He says that as long as I am present on that side, Kaurava's side, you cannot win. That's for sure. It's impossible to defeat me. Even Indra and all the Asuras, even if they join together and come, it's not possible to defeat me. But he says that there is one gap in my armor. There's one hole in my armor, and that is that I have a vow. I've taken a vow that I will never, never fight against someone who is a woman, who has been a woman in a previous life or previously been a woman and then become a man, someone who has a name of a woman, someone who is handicapped, who is not, doesn't have a full normal body, and so on. So he gives about 10 different instances or 10 different types of fighters against whom he will not fight, even if they attack him. So he says, now on your side, and among them, one more condition he gives among the 10 or so, he says, anybody, any warrior whose flag has an inauspicious sign on it, with such a person also, I will not fight. Okay, that is my dignity as a Kshatriya. Says, on your side, there is a warrior that you all know, and you know that story also. It's a person by name Shikhandi, who was actually born as a woman, but has later become a man. And the flag of that person, Shikhandi, also has an evil sign, an inauspicious sign on it. For these two reasons, If that person attacks me, I will not fight. So that is the only chink in my armor. So please make use of that. Tomorrow, when you fight with me, please make that person attack me. And Arjuna, you keep that person in front. And when I stop fighting against that person is attacking me, I will stop fighting. Then you attack me and kill me. I will fall. Okay, so Bhishma gives this advice. So they listen to this advice very gravely. It's a very grave thing to ask somebody, how can we kill you? And that person honestly tells you how they can be killed and also gives a clear plan to you, which you never could think of. So now they are very grave and they take his blessings and they come back. And on the way back, after they reach their camp, Arjuna's heart is melted. So he cries. He comes to Krishna and says, Krishna, I cannot do this. This person is my father's father. And he showed so much love to me as a grandfather. I never spent time with my own father, but he brought me up. He cared for me, took care of me. And I've heard when I was a small baby, when I was a small child playing in the mud, I used to climb on his lap and soil his clothes. I used to pass urine and other things on his clothes. And he would very lovingly take care of me. And I would call him father, father. And he would tell me very lovingly that I'm not your father, I'm your father's father. He would reply like that. And people have told me, described to me all those loving moments I've had with him. And all my life, he has taken care of me. He brought me up. How can I ever do this? And now he is telling me how I can kill him. How can I ever kill him? That too in this manner. I cannot do this. Please let me, just leave me out of this. Just let me go. Then Arjuna again, this is just like in the first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Okay, he said very similar things. So again, he turns to Krishna and he says, after a pause, he says, now Krishna, you know how I am. So just tell me, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should still fight and try to kill him? And then again, Krishna, like he said earlier, he says that yes, now is the time that you should do what you promised to do. Okay, so Krishna is now seeing the larger picture, the picture of dharma. Dharma has to be established. The only way you can do that is by defeating the Kauravas. The only way you can defeat the Kauravas is to remove Bhishma from the equation. The moment the equation doesn't have Bhishma, the equation changes completely. So, and that is possible only in the way in which he has told you. There is only one way you can do it. And you are the only person who can do that. He tells Arjuna there is nobody else among the Pandavas also. Earlier, in the earlier shloka, if you recollect, we read Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Among the Pandavas, I am Dhananjaya. Or I think that shloka will come now. It is not yet come among our 10 chapter shlokas. It's going to come 1 or 2 sessions from now. So among the Pandavas, only you can do it. So you have to do it tomorrow. So he says this, and then Arjuna says, yes, Krishna, if you say that I should do it, then I will do it. So next day morning, they're all gone. They go there, and on the 10th day morning, the Pandava army, the Kaurava army comes out with Bhishma in the front as the captain. Like in cricket, we say the captain leads the players on the field, right? So in the war also, it's unlike today. Today, the president of the country, who is the supreme commander of the armed forces, stays in his house in Rashtrapati Bhavan or wherever it is. Okay, I'm not criticizing our president. Please don't misunderstand me. But I'm just saying that times have changed, right? In those days, our culture was that the king, the most powerful person, will be in the front. Of course, he'll be protected by his forces around him. Just like Bhishma comes out in the front with the Kauravas, and the Kauravas are all around his chariot. They are there for people who are attacking Bhishma, like his bodyguards. Okay, that is there. But he comes out in the front. But on the Pandavas side, who comes out first? Shikandi. Shikandi comes out first with Arjuna. Arjuna and Shikandi come out in the same chariot, along with all the other warriors around them. Not Drishtadumna. Drishtadumna was the commander-in-chief of the Pandava army. But on the 10th day, Shikandi comes out, leads the Pandava army out. And Bhishma is at his best on that day. Bhishma's most aggressive form is on the 10th day of the Kurukshetra war. He fights as if on that day he's going to finish the entire Pandava army. He's unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable. So then again, Krishna reminds Arjuna that now is the time. Go ahead. Okay, so as he does that, it's the same time at which Bhishma himself is contemplating how long should I go on further. Okay, I've already told them how they should get rid of me. How much longer should I go? So as Arjuna and Shikandi come in front of Bhishma, that's like a climax in the war, where The Mahabharata description, which I have read, the original Mahabharata, is extremely elaborate. And it's impossible to read it. It's thousands of shlokas, this portion alone. So as Shikandi comes and Arjuna is fighting, they are doing it very strategically because all the Kaurava warriors, they are watching and they try to prevent Arjuna and Shikandi coming in the front. And they attack Arjuna from all sides. They know that he's the one who is trying to make way for Shikandi to kill Bhishma. And so Bhishma is attacking Arjuna. Bhishma is attacking all the other warriors. The moment Bhishma sees Shikandi in front, he lowers his arms. He says, I won't fight anymore. You kill me. And he laughingly tells Shikandi, see, I know you're a woman. I know that you are not a man. You're pretending to be a man. He tells him mockingly, sarcastically. And he angers Shikandi. He deliberately angers him so that Shikandi will even further, be aggressive on him. So it's very interesting, this description, how it happens. And eventually, Bhishma is fighting at his best. And it's described that at one point, as it reaches the climax, his entire body from all sides, because Arjuna is attacking him from all sides, all the four sides. Arjuna's arrows, just like we say in cricket today, when a bowler bowls, the ball doesn't always go in a straight line, right? Sometimes it goes as a swing, in swinger, out swinger, and so on. So Arjuna's arrows also go like that. They go like swings. They go from different directions. They hit him from the back. They hit him from the front. They hit him from all directions, and they fill up his body. So it said that it reaches a point when they could not place two fingers on his body where there is not an arrow. The arrows are all over. They're sticking into his body. His body is covered with arrows from top to the bottom, right? So it reaches that point, and then Bhishma thinks that now probably the time has come for me to accept. And so Bhishma decides to quit. He says that now the time has come for me to go back to my original place, my original house. So at that point, as it reaches the climax, he puts down his weapon. He allows Arjuna to go on attacking him. And finally, when he decides to fall, he just falls from the chariot. He just falls down on the ground. And he falls on his back. He ensures that his head is pointing towards the east. Keeping his head to the east, he falls and he eventually lies on the ground with the arrows on his back supporting him. His body does not touch the ground anywhere. He falls, he lies there like that. So he lies there. The moment he falls, the Pandavas stop fighting. Everybody lowers their weapons. They know that now what they want has been achieved. There is celebration on the Pandavas side. They start blowing conches and drums and everything. The news spreads among the Kauravas side immediately, and the Kauravas, there's complete gloom on their side, and some of them faint. When Dronacharya hears this, he becomes unconscious. He loses consciousness, and when he gains consciousness again, he calls his army back. He says, stop fighting. Today's war is over. So there is immediate... when they all go to Bhishma, it is said that just before this thing happened, Mother Ganga, when she sees that her son has fallen, everybody is watching this, and the Devas, they shower flowers on Bhishma. They say that now he has made up his mind to come back to us. So they said this is the climax of his Manushya Leela. And Mother Ganga, she sends the rishis, the Maharishis to visit Bhishma and bless him. And they come there, they do parikrama of Bhishma, they take his blessings. So a lot of description is there about what happens at this point of time. And then eventually Bhishma tells the people gathered around him, he says that now my body is resting properly, but my head is hanging. So please give me a pillow on which I can rest my head. So all the warriors run here and there, and they bring the best available pillows for him. The softest and the best cushions are brought for Bhishma's pleasure. But Bhishma rejects all of them. He says, these are not fit for a warrior like me. And he looks at Arjuna and says, Arjuna, you will understand the pillow that I require, you as a Kshatriya. So please give me a pillow. So Arjuna takes his Gandiva bow and he chants a mantra. And then he takes 3 arrows. He shoots those 3 arrows into the ground. And those 3 arrows are perfectly under the head of Bhishma. And Bhishma rests his head on that and he smiles at Arjuna. He says, you understand whatever I want. Okay. And we will see in the next class's story how he also arranges water for Bhishma. He understands what Bhishma wants. But before we go there, in today's story itself, on the night of the 10th day. So now The war has reached a turning point where the biggest force on the Kaurava side has been eliminated, has been removed. So there is celebration in the Pandava camp and there is complete gloom in the Kaurava camp. So in the Pandava camp, as the people are celebrating, what happens? Sri Krishna, he reaches there. And this is from the original Mahabharata that I have with me. So I'm just reading out what happened there. This conversation between Krishna and Yudhishthira. Okay, the previous night, also conversation between Krishna and Yudhishthira, and they decide to go to Bhishma. And now Bhishma is out. So now what is the conversation? It says, Nivishtan Pandavans Chaiva Priyamanan Maharathan Bhishmasya Patane Hrishtan Upagamya Mahabalaha Uvacha Madhavah Kale Dharmaputram Yudhishtiram Dishtya Jayasi Kauravya Dishtya Bhishmo Nipatitaha. So when Krishna enters the tent where the Pandavas are all sitting and talking and they're all happily talking to each other, they feel, he tells them that, oh Yudhishthira, you are such a fortunate person. You have now got victory. Right? Victory is now on your side. And your great fortune is also that Bhishma has been removed. Victory is on your side and Bhishma has been removed. He tells them. Avadhyo Manushaireva Satyasandho Maharatha Athava Daivatai Sardham Sarvashastrasya Paragah Tvam tu Chakshurhanam Prapya Dagdho Ghorena Chakshusha. O Yudhishthira, this Bhishma that has been fallen now, he was invincible. Avadhya means invincible, one who cannot be killed. Manushaihi, by human beings. Daivataihi, also by the Devas. Neither the Devas nor the Manushyas could kill him. Manusyas could kill him. He is Satyasandha. Because he is Satyasandha means he is a person who is committed to upholding the truth. A person who is committed to upholding the truth always, under any circumstances, becomes powerful. That gives him power, material power, strength. Okay? Because of that, he was so powerful. And he was also, not only was that his power, but even in terms of his weapons, Sarva Shastrasya Paraga, he was also expert in all weapons. He knew all possible weapons that human beings can use, and so he could use them. But you, Tvam tu Chakshurhanam Prapya, you Yudhishthira, because you are also a truthful person. You also are known for your honesty. And by the power of your honesty, you have gained the power of being able to burn somebody down. You see, when somebody is so powerful as observes a brahmacharya vrata, or for women, they say the pativratya. Pativrata is a person who has pativratya. Means the power of a pativrata is that if she wishes, when she glances at something with anger, she can burn that thing down. Okay, that is the power she gets. Similarly, a person like Yudhishthira is Satyasandha. With that power, you can burn something down, and now today it's your power. You have burnt Bhishma down. You have made Bhishma fall with your power. Tvam tu chakshurhanam prapya dagdho ghorena chakshusha. You have burnt Bhishma down with your powerful eyes. Krishna tells this to Yudhishthira. Basically, he is praising him. He is appreciating. He wants them to feel good. Now, eva mukto dharmaraja. Eva mukto dharmaraja pratyuvacha janardanam. So, having been spoken to like this by Krishna, Yudhishthira replied to him. Yudhishthira says, Tava prasadat vijayah krodhat tava parajayah. Oh Krishna, no, I don't accept it. I don't accept whatever you said just now. Because it is only by your prasad, only by pleasing you, only in your happiness, only by making you happy, there is victory. Vijayah. Tava prasadat vijayah. Only by making you happy is there victory. Krodhat tava parajayah. But if you are not happy, if you are angry with us, then there is defeat for us. I have no doubt about this. Tvam hi na sharanam Krishna. You are our refuge, O Krishna. Tvam hi na sharanam Krishna. Bhaktanam abhayankaraha. You are our refuge, O Krishna, and you are the source of fearlessness for your bhaktas. Anascharyo jayastesham yesham tvam asikeshava. There is no surprise if The person who is winning is the person who has you on his side. Rakshita samare nityam, nityam chapi hite ratah, sarvata tvam samasadya, nascharyam iti me matihi. Now, we have you on our side, and so we have winning this war. What is the surprise in this? What is the big deal to talk about this? There is nothing in this. He says, this is so obvious that because you are on our side, we are winning this war. Okay, so anascharyo jayastesham yesham tvam masi keshaha. If you see, this theme comes again and again in the Mahabharata, in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad-Gita. In the Bhagavad-Gita, the last concluding shloka, he says the concluding paragraph is the one that carries the essence of the paper that you write, or a book. The book says essentially, what is this book about? The paper says, the conclusion says, what is this paper about? Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, what is the Bhagavad Gita about? The last shloka of the Bhagavad Gita, do you know what it is? Yatra yogeshwara krishno, yatra partho dhanurdharaha, tatra shrir vijayo bhutihi, dhruva nitir matir mama. Sanjaya speaking this. He concludes the Gita by saying, wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, means wherever there is the Gita of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna and Arjuna together means the Bhagavad Gita. Tatra shrihi means enormous amount of wealth, opulence. Vijayaha, victory. Tatra shrir vijayo bhutihi, dhruva nitir matir mamaha. So, the same theme is being said here. Krishna, you are with us, and therefore we are winning. We have no qualification. It's because of you, whatever we have achieved so far, we have achieved. Then what happens? Eva muktah pratyuvacha smayamano janardanaha tavaiva etat yukta rupam vachanam parthivottama. So final signature. Krishna, who was spoken to in this manner by Yudhishthira, smayamanaha. He smiled at him. He smiled back at Yudhishthira and he said, whatever you have said is correct. That's it. So he's telling us that I was trying to make you feel good by saying good things about you, but you cannot tolerate that. And you have now spoken the correct thing, right? So this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita essence is that bring Krishna into our life. We don't have to subtract anything from our life. Live your life the way you're living now. Only make one change. That is by adding something to it, which is probably not there now. If it's already there, it's a great thing. Make it more. If it's not there, then add it. That is, bring Krishna into our life. Then whatever we want to do, we'll get the right guidance. The proper guidance, it will happen properly. As simple as that. So for today, I will stop with this and very happy to hear your questions, any comments. Can you give us some water? Please take some water. Those who are online, could you hear my audio? Was I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Yes, sir.
One thing that I found really great.
A little loudly.
Yeah, one thing that I found really great and tremendous about Bhishma Pitama, which also reminded me of the beach Rishi, was when they asked for something selflessly given. When we don't want to keep any secret, we selflessly told that the way you can get it is this way. And then that process we lost the text. So the beach Maharishi comparison.
Okay, so here Swapnil is pointing out one thing. He says that this story of Bhishma revealing to the Pandavas or suggesting to the Pandavas the way in which he can be killed is similar to how the Dadichi Maharishi himself told or himself volunteered when he was asked for his bones. He said, I will definitely give them because you are using them for a higher purpose. He gave up his life. Absolutely. Selflessness. Where that person is so spiritually mature that he goes beyond time. He goes beyond his body, goes beyond time. He's able to transcend material existence to the point that even his own body can be given up. He's not afraid of death. He's beyond death. Fearlessness of even of death. Death is said to be the most fearsome thing, right? May not be true because maybe, but there are some experiments which say that stage fright is even more fearsome. But anyway, that's a trivial point. The point is, whatever it is that is most fearsome, that can be transcended if we have that consciousness. Niharika, do you have any questions? Could you hear me clearly today?
Yes, sir. No question, sir.
Okay.
So this is Arunabha here, sir. May I ask a question, sir?
Please, yeah.
Sir, in Mahabharata, like there is a figure who, like Sri Krishna,
Yeah.
who guides the Pandavas to the righteous path, sir. In present day context, how do we get a figure who can guide us to the righteous path, sir?
Well, present day Krishna is present today too. And Guru, you see, one is to develop the Shraddha that I can access Krishna in my own heart. The Bhagavad-gita's teaching is that
That's bhakti.
Krishna is
Yeah.
present in our own heart, and we should develop that conviction. We should develop the understanding. Based on the understanding, develop conviction. It is not a blind faith. It is an understanding which comes from knowledge of the Shastra. By studying the Bhagavad-gita properly, rigorously, like the way we study our papers and our books, we study the Gita and understand the knowledge given there thoroughly, then we develop that vision, develop the understanding, that conviction that yes, Bhagavan is real and he is present inside us. He is present within us. So, of course, to be able to even get that conviction, well, we go to a guru. We approach a guru who already has that conviction, who has that realization. The guru is that external manifestation of Bhagavan, and he, by associating with him, we develop a similar conviction, we develop a similar understanding. So through Guru and through connecting with Krishna, with the blessings of the Guru, we feel the presence of Krishna in our life.
So thank you, sir.
Sir, Pranam sir, Dharesh here. I
Yeah.
think in 10th chapter only Bhagwan says that yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam. Jahan pe bhi, wherever you see something alaukik or parlokik or something that is extraordinary, you you actually consider that to be my vibhuti.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, that can be a key to identify a good guru or a kind of like some mentor like Krishna.
Yeah.
So,
True. Yes. Through understanding his vibhutis, we can see him. We can sort of feel his presence, and also maybe that will take us. The best way to know our guru is to understand the qualities of a guru, the person who is capable. A guru should be one in the path of bhakti, a person who has the realization about Bhagavan and who is living that life, who is practicing that life himself or herself. A lady also can be a guru. So when a person like that is available to us, visible to us, and when we see that person is genuine in all respects, does not have. See, the most essential quality of bhakti is the quality of nishkapatta. Nishkapatta means the property or the quality of being genuine, not being duplicitous. The opposite of genuine is duplicity. Right? So not being duplicitous. So if we see a person who is very genuine, who is 100% not interested in taking anything for themselves, but only interested in giving to the others, and who has a proper understanding of the Shastra, such a person can be our guru. And we can go to such a guru and take their blessings.
Sir, speaking of gurus, there's a popular phrase that we use, Mata Pita Guru Devam, right?
Yes.
So, could you tell a little bit about the origin of where that phrase came from? Is it from the Mahabharata or is it from somewhere else?
I don't know if it's in the Mahabharata, but it's a phrase in our Sanskriti. It has come down since I don't know how long, but it's a very important principle where our mother and father are our first gurus. It's only through them that we get this body. And so our first respect is always for them, regardless of whether they are bhaktas of Bhagavan or not. So it doesn't matter whether they are in the path of spirituality, whether they are educated, whether they accept what we say about Bhagavan. When we read Bhagavad-Gita, we learn something, and then sometimes there's a tendency to think that now I know a lot. What do my parents know? They know nothing. So that tendency we should be very careful against, because that destroys bhakti. So our first respect should be always towards our parents and then towards our guru. Even if that guru is a bhakta, we should never disrespect our parents. Of course, we learn about bhakti from a person who knows bhakti. So we may not learn from our parents, or we may learn from our parents if our parents also are bhaktas. That's case to case difference. But regardless
Yes,
of that, everybody should respect their parents first.
yes, sir. Got it.
And then comes Bhagavan. Bhagavan is after Guru.
Yes, sir.
Even if we are not able to get along with our parents, sometimes, I mean, today's world, it's common that children and parents don't get along. Sometimes they do get along very well. I see many cases where parents and children, they live together, they're always together, they're united. And there are many cases where it's exactly the opposite. But whichever way it is, that respect should be there in the heart, always. Even if we don't live with them, we are not able to live with them, we should never disrespect them. That gratitude, basically respect comes from gratitude. It's not just some blind thing. The gratitude that you have given birth to me, you brought me up, you gave me a subsistence, you took care of me when I was helpless. That kind of thinking.
Sir, speaking of respect, like we obey the people we respect, right? So let's say there have been multiple instances in the Shastras where, for example, Kunti Devi, I think by mistakenly she tells Arjuna something which leads to Draupadi marrying all the 5 Pandavas, right? So
Yeah.
They showed respect to their mother by following her blindly.
Yeah.
So what do we mean by showing respect to our Mata, Pita, and Guru? Is it following their orders like it's sacred? Is that what is the takeaway from?
Well, the larger understanding of respect is anukulata. You see, the word anukulata is an important word in bhakti as well. But vyavaharik anukulata is where we conduct ourselves in a manner where we don't offend that person. We are not rude to that person. We are not arrogant. We don't harm that person. We try to ensure that that person is as comfortable as possible. Our dealings with them are done as pleasingly as possible, in as gentle manner as possible. Yes, there are real life situations in which we may not agree with whatever they say. Sometimes they could be wrong. In today's world also, there could be places when they may say something which may not be best for them too. There might be, and we have to deal with it very carefully without offending them. Now, in day-to-day practice, sometimes we disagree with our parents, but the larger picture is that we should be not offensive to them in the larger picture.
Yes, sir.
In momentary dealings, there might be some aberration sometimes.
Yes.
See, if you see even the way in which Prahlad talks to Hiranyakashipu, that's a very important lesson in this topic, where although Hiranyakashipu is, the exact opposite of a bhakta, he does everything to kill both the bhakta of Vishnu and Vishnu himself. He wants to kill Vishnu, he wants to kill his bhakta. And Prahlad knows that, and Prahlad is the victim. The way Prahlad talks to him, if you see the wordings of the Bhagavatam, he's very respectful. He's not disrespectful, but he speaks the truth. He says, because Hiranyakashipu asks him, what is the greatest thing that you learned? He's honestly saying, he's not trying to be sarcastic with his father. This shloka which I showed you now is not spoken out of sarcasm. It is spoken out of being honest. He's just saying, this is what is the highest I have learned. And another place also where he tells his father that it's a very powerful shloka. I'll cover it some other time. Where he says that people, are caught in this samsara because of their misconceptions. And they become attached to their family members and they fall down. He's actually describing Hiranyakashipu's position as someone who is materially intoxicated. But he's not being sarcastic to him. He's just speaking the truth. He's a jnani. Prahlad has got full knowledge. So he's sharing that knowledge out of compassion with his father.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm audible, sir?
Yeah, Puneet, yes.
Yes, the story of Bhishma is very incredible. There are so many things to learn from this character, and it is the life, the way the Bhishma is living is very hard to copy this kind of a life in a present day. So, is there any story related to this Bhishma that the way he was very dharma follower, he never did any wrongful act, and at the end of
Problem.
the end of his life, he's just feeling so much of.
Puneet, just hold on. Puneet, you may have to repeat what you asked me. Can you speak something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you speak a little louder? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was just asking that Bhishma is such an incredible character. He had never did anything wrong and followed the dharma. Is there any story related to the to his climax that he's bearing so much of pain is at the end of his life? So to do this, to have to do something with his past karmas or something. Because I have heard a story, I don't know it is a part of a Mahabharata, not that in his younger age, apart from the falling dharma, he just once as a kid he just pricked one butterfly with the stone or something. So that is why he has to fulfill all this karma. Is the story true or not?
No, Puneet. That is not there in the Mahabharata, the story of Bhishma killing a butterfly and all that. He's just serving a sentence. The Vasus are asked to go to the earth and take birth as Manushya.
Right.
That is an inferior species compared to Deva. Deva becoming Manushya is a punishment, right? Just like a normal citizen becoming a prisoner in a jail, like that. So they are sent to the Manushya Loka and they take birth, and he's the one who's asked to spend the whole life. So one full lifetime he spends here, and the pain that he takes at the end is a pain that he is able to tolerate. Means he's got the strength, he's endowed with the strength to be able to take that pain. It's something like today, if we are walking somewhere and there's a thorn which gets into our foot, right? Now, it's painful, but we can tolerate it. Right? We can at least have enough tolerance to walk to some place and sit down and then remove it. Right? So like that, if one thorn enters our body or two thorns enter our body somewhere, we can tolerate it. It is pain, but we can tolerate it. So Bhishma has these innumerable number of arrows in his body. He gets beaten by those arrows, and being the foremost among Kshatriyas. In general, Kshatriyas have the strength to tolerate the wounds inflicted on them. They are trained like that. Mentally, they are strong. A Brahmana cannot do that. This is something a Brahmana cannot do even if he practices. The Kshatriya's mind is trained like that. That different types of weapons, they cut the body, they cut and they cause wounds, they break the armor, blood flows. So if you see the graphic descriptions in Mahabharata, enormous amount of wounds are inflicted on the different warriors, not only on Bhishma. But all of them, they continue fighting. They're able to tolerate that. The pain is there, but they can tolerate the pain and they keep fighting with that. And there are medicines. Even now, recently, I attended one session by a leading Ayurvedic professor, a professor of Ayurveda and also a consultant. He's very good, extremely good. He goes into the Shastra and he brings out the qualities that Ayurveda teaches. And he was telling us that how in our knowledge system, the Ayurvedic knowledge system, the cobblers, if I'm right, the cobblers or the potters, one of those two occupations. I think it is the cobblers only. They had a particular knowledge with them by which they had they could create an ointment which would be able to cure a wound. Particularly, he said, one of the most common wounds that Kshatriyas inflict on each other is cutting off the nose, this front part of the nose. This part of the nose, there's no bone here. It is just a piece of flesh. And so that is chopped off in a fight between two Kshatriyas. If they are fighting, they chop off the nose, other person's nose, not their own nose, the other person's nose. Okay. That's considered insult. Just like Shurpanaka's nose was cut by Lakshmana, right? Along with one ear. So that's for insult. You cut somebody's ear or nose, they won't die. They just bleed. And they'll start crying or they go to the hospital today. But in those days, it was considered a sign of insult. They won't cry, but they'll feel very insulted that their nose was cut off. And he says that these cobblers, they had that medicine. That medicine could instantly cure that. So next day morning, they can come back with a proper nose and they could start fighting again. The nose gets restored. At least it comes back to a form that they can continue fighting. Right? So they had medicines or they had ointments or Ayurvedic, preparations by which the wounds could be healed within a few hours. They could apply that and sleep, and then next morning they would be in a condition where they can continue. Even today we have certain things, no? So certain level of injury, you can rest it. We see sportsmen doing that. They get injured, but they apply some spray, some massage and everything. Next day they are back on the field. Yeah.
In ancient times, there is a town in Himachal, Kangra.
Okay.
Where it is said that people there knew how to do nose and ear surgery kind of.
Instantly. Instant surgery.
That town was
Known for that. Kangra. That's why the word Kan comes there, is it? Okay. Okay. So here Vedant, who is from Kashmir originally, not recently, but long back. So he's sharing with us the news that in his region, Kangra, is a place called Kangra in Himachal. It's not in Kashmir. It's in Himachal. And in Kangra, there is the tradition of curing people's ears and noses by surgery. Yeah.
So I would also like to add. Sorry.
Actually, speaking of Ayurveda, I'd like to offer a perspective. Right now, I am in Kotak, the Arya Vaideshala, Kerala. And
Okay.
so here, their basic principle is to focus on the body's natural ability to heal. So even in the wild, if an animal gets wounded, it goes to a corner of the forest and then rests so that it can nourish itself back to health. So to that extent, I want to ask if the Kshatriyas have some physical property in their own body that lets them harness this power, healing power within their own body.
Yeah, maybe they did, because actually the body, like you correctly said, has got its own healing power, and the doctor lives inside. Actually, the real doctor lives inside the body, not outside. So in those days, or in our Samskriti, the way in which people lived was much more sattvic than we are living today, right? All the practices they had, getting up in the morning, the time of getting up, the time at which they go to sleep at night, the kind of food they ate, particular crops they grew, the food they ate, the way in which they ate them, the fasting they did, made them both physically and mentally very strong. Okay, and many of those things we can practice today as well. We can practice a very sattvic lifestyle today too and become stronger than what we are now. And so it's quite possible that the Kshatriyas had enough strength in their body to be able to heal it very quickly. The body could heal very quickly within a few hours of resting. You're saying even without those medicines. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sushruta is one of the physicians, yes.
to be considered Moses that until 1937, Hakim Dinanath was the person with the last operation.
In Kangra, is it?
Plastic surgical operation, yes, Kangra.
Okay.
These people were called as this community Kangrarians. I think this is a particular family who used to do nose and crown ears surgery.
Okay.
Last one was till 1937.
Okay. So Vedant has just shared us information that until 1937, there was an expert doctor in Kangra who could do this kind of surgery and so on. Even today, there might be, maybe in Kerala. In Kerala, there's still a lot of Ayurveda alive. Yeah. Mm.
Yes, sir. Actually, there's one, specifically, there's one 1 week long special program for Visu, the Kerala New Year.
Okay.
That includes in this particular town of Kottakkal, it's pretty famous. The Arya Vaidya is still keeping that tradition alive.
I see. Okay. So are you there for Vishu now? Because now Vishu
Yes,
must
sir.
be near the corner, right?
Yeah.
April 14th or so it comes.
Yeah. The Kathakali performances, there's some event every other day.
All right, good. So go through it and then you can share with us what
Yes.
you picked up there. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One follow-up question on that. I mean, I've heard that there is a 7 day or a 10 day detox program in these Ayurvedic centers. You know, where they teach us when to wake up in the morning, what to eat, how to do the daily work, and all those stuff. And it is preached across in Kerala and many centers in Kerala. These Ayurvedic centers. So
Yeah.
is that true? Is that thing true?
Sudarshan?
Yeah, it is actually, they give us a strict regime for diet as well as a few, I think, Ayurvedic supplements along with timely sleep. So,
I
of
see. Okay.
course, these are up to us to follow these things, and it is up to around 3%. But these work, like you said, when you combine it with right and sleep.
I see. Okay.
And,
Good.
and this center attracts a lot of people from all over the world looking for a nature retreat as well, not just people who are looking to cure certain ailments.
Okay. Yeah, there are many things. But actually, even without going to these retreats, it's possible to follow several sattvic practices in our own life. I'm working on trying to develop some kind of a set of guidelines that, as students here or even as faculty members here, we can all follow certain things in our life which can help us do our work better. Sattvic lifestyles are always favorable to doing work better. The same work that you're doing will happen more productively and you will have a better condition of mind. Your state of mind will be much better if you live sattvically.
Yes.
So it's good to go to a resort and learn from there. But once we come back, we should adopt that life, make it normal. Make it our
Yes.
normal life.
Sure.
I guess Sudarshan has gone not only for the knowledge, but also for some treatment.
Yeah, yes.
Sir, one question I got from the word Satvik. A few lectures back, we were discussing about three things, the three kind of tapasya, Rajasic, Tamasic, and Satvik tapasya.
Yeah.
So how this tapasya different from bhakti? Is it or Satvik tapasya or bhakti is the same thing or different?
No, it's not. Sattvic tapasya is not bhakti by itself. Bhakti comes when our mentality is of, our basic thinking is anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. We want to connect with Krishna in love, in affection. That is the core of bhakti. When that thinking comes, then there is bhakti. Sattvic tapasya is favorable to bhakti. If we live a sattvic life, it helps the sadhana of bhakti. It is very favorable. But by itself, it is not bhakti. Sattvic tapasya helps any kind of existence in this material world. If we just want to live a happy life, even without bhakti, somebody says, I don't want bhakti, but I just want to live peacefully, happily. Right? For them also, sattvic tapasya is beneficial.
Like a hunting.
Yeah, but if somebody does bhakti, they go beyond that, beyond sattva. They attain even more happiness than just somebody who lives in sattva. Okay, it's just like this. A simple example of relationship. You see, today, even modern research in social science, sociology, psychology. There's so many videos on YouTube as well, and we come across in our papers, in some of our own journals, management journals, shows that the biggest source of happiness in this world, among the different ways in which we get happiness, the biggest source of happiness, you know what it is? What is the biggest source of happiness? The biggest factor which can give happiness, which gives happiness to us. is loving relationships. Biggest. Okay, many things give us happiness, like mobile phones give us happiness, laptops give us happiness. Okay, sensual pleasure like food, sex, whatever. All those give us happiness, no doubt. But the best form of happiness comes from a simple, warm, loving relationship with somebody. When I say loving, I don't mean romance. Love with mother, father, with friend. Good, trustworthy, loving relationships. Okay, that is the biggest source of happiness. Okay, now bring that here. You bring that here, the most genuine loving happiness can be obtained when we have it with God. The most genuine person is God, is Bhagavan, right? And therefore, the best form of relationship is the one that we can have with Him. And so, very logically, the best happiness can be got when we have bhakti. It's very logical, isn't it?
Yes. Got it, sir. Okay. One more request, sir. Are we covering Bhishma chapters in next classes also?
Yes, one more session. Yeah, one more session I'll do Bhishma.
The request to
Bhishma leaves this world and goes back.
sir, request to please conclude. Although we have covered very extensively the Bhishma story, but please once again at the life lessons from the story of the Bhishma.
Sure, sure. Good. I'll definitely do that. And then I would also request you to reflect on whatever we did in the earlier classes,
Right.
and share your learnings. How
Absolutely.
can we borrow from Bhishma's story into our today's world, right? Today we are not living with bows and arrows and chariots. We are living with papers and books and whatever, right? And professors and students. So how do we bring Bhishma into our life? How do we bring those good qualities into our life, and how can we make our life successful, right? So all of you share, all of you, not only Puneet, but everybody, bring your insights, and we'll take the best out of this.
Sir, we have 4 minutes left. I have 2 questions to ask, sir.
Okay, very
So
good.
number one, is it true that when Bhishma was going to Swarga Loka, he was a Swarga, he was not initially allowed because he didn't resist the Vastraharan of Draupadi. Is that incident true?
No, that is not
That's
true.
not true.
Okay. What is the
Okay.
second false thing? Please tell me.
So the second false thing or not, I don't know. So second is a perception. Is the fact that initially when Maharaj Bharat was there, when he set up the kingdom,
Yeah.
he established democracy because he didn't allow his children to have the kingdom, rather one among his pupils to have the kingdom. That was said by Maharaj Bharat.
Maharaj
That is,
Bharat, you mean the son of Rishabhadev Bharat? Which Bharat are you talking about?
sir, when I study Mahabharat, the first chapter of Mahabharat, that Raja Bharat had given, I mean, he was looking for descent, I mean, his Yuvraj. For his Yuvraj, he had, I think, 9 children he had, 9 sons he had. But instead of giving the kingdom to one of those, his 9 children, his biological children, he gave it to one of the people of the kingdom, rather than the 9 children, and said that this is democracy, because my people are my children, and the best among them should lead the country.
I have not heard this so far, but I don't know if this story comes in the beginning of Mahabharata. Does it come?
In the beginning of the Mahabharata. It's in the beginning of Mahabharata,
From
the first chapter of Mahabharata.
I will again go to the first chapter of Mahabharata and definitely check it out.
Right.
Memory, what comes in the early part of Mahabharata for sure is the story about Shantanu and Mahabhisha becoming Shantanu. Mahabhisha getting cursed and then becoming Shantanu. These things come in the early part of Mahabharata, but
this is before that, sir. Before Shantanu also.
Before Shantanu also. Yeah, Bharata, there's a king called Bharata in the dynasty of the Kurus, the son of Dushyanta and Shakuntala, if I'm right. Yeah. Not Rishabhadeva's son. Not Rishabhadeva's son. But whether he comes there in this place and whether he's also doing what you said, let me just check it out. I'll check it out.
Sure, sir. So now the other thing is, so when Shantanu fell in love with Satyavati.
Satyavati.
But by that time, Shantanu had already declared the fact that Devrat, who later became Bhishma, will be the Yuvraj. He had already declared.
Not declared, he wanted. In his heart, he wanted that. He had not made him the king, or he had not crowned him or declared that he will be the king.
Okay. Now, given the fact that he wanted Devrat to be the king, and Satyavati's father wanted, I'm forgetting the name of the lady, Satyavati's children to be the king.
Yes.
So, to make his father happy, Devrat acceded to the demand of Satyavati's father. Thereby, the democracy that was set by Raja Bharata was killed by Bhishma.
Okay, first of all, I'll check if democracy was set up by Bharata or not. Then we will
Sure, sir.
understand.
Yeah.
This, right? We'll check this out. Okay, it's a good question, but we will check it out and
Yeah. So
fine.
probably, yeah. But that is one perspective that might be the case. So yeah, that can be evaluated, sir.
Definitely. We'll check it up and I'll try to answer it by next class. Okay.
Sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So, shall we close for today? It's 8 o'clock. I'll go back to the PowerPoint. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobhramanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Tad Vishnu of Paramam Padagum Sada Pashyanti Surayah Divi Vachakshuratatam Tadvipraso Vipanyavo Jagruvagum Sassamindhate Vishnoryat Paramam Padam Parya Aptya Anantarayaya Sarvastamoti Uttama Mahadbhavati Sarvasyaptyai Sarvasya Jityai Sarvameva Tena Apnoti Sarvam Jayati Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. धन्यवादः पुनर्मिलामः